Hello, we are with Arun Gupta. Thanks for coming to Vox Day Istanbul.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of questions to Arun. First of all, do you think total size of the application server is a barrier for microservice developers? What do you think?
Well, more than the size, well, when you talk in terms of size, there are two things that you're talking about. There is one is the disk footprint, like how much is the application disk size is. The other one is the memory footprint. Now, the disk size does not matter that much. Although, if you look for a heavyweight server like WebLogic or WebSphere, those are 1 GB. That's a lot of space you require to run a tiny microservice, as opposed to JBoss EAP, which is about 150 megabytes. So, or Tomcat or Tommy, one of those servers, if you do those on the lighter side of it. So in that sense, it does matter to an extent. What's more critical is how modular or rapidly your server can start. You know, you don't want to create a microservice and then let it live in a heavyweight server. So your microservice may start rapidly, but your app server may take a few minutes to start, so that won't work. And that's one of the fundamental things that we look at within Wildfly and JBoss EAP, which has been modular for a while. So you can literally plug and choose what do you care about for your microservice architecture, plug those systems or remove those systems and make it really lean and mean.
Micro means micro. You have to be micro. Micro.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question: May Java Enterprise Edition 9 contains a new GSR for microservices? What do you think?
Right, so microservices is an architectural style which gives you some recommendations on that your app should be functionally decomposed. It talks about some technologies but not heavily. It's a very high level guideline and what a microservice architecture should look like. So I don't think a JSR is at all needed, not even recommended in my opinion. Now Java EE will continue to provide technologies which will enable it. So when you do REST-based endpoints, well, that's where JAX-RS is. You need loose coupling, strong cohesion. That's where CDI is. In there we talk about service discovery, location transparency. That's what JNDI is. So I think there are certain key components that are already in there in Java EE.
No need for GSR.
I don't think so. I don't
Okay,
think.
so what's your advice to developers about microservices? Which books do you advise to them, or best practices?
Right. So I think microservices, as I said, is an architectural style. Functional decomposition of an application is very important. People tend to focus a lot more on building the microservice, but there's a strong requirement, equally important requirement on how you should do a no-ops or an outer architecture around those microservices. Very, very important to look at who your PaaS vendor is. You know, you're going to deploy it in the cloud. So who's your PaaS vendor? Are you containerizing your application? Look at Docker, for example, and Kubernetes, how they're solving the problem. A very, very important aspect of it is 100% automation. So a very good DevOps team is very, very important for all of that. I think those are some of the key aspects when you're building your microservice. Don't just focus on the technology in building the service, but make sure you have all of those relevant parts. I think they're both hand in hand.
Okay. So, last question: when will Whitefly 9 release? What are the key features?
Right. So Wildfly 9 CR1 was released 2 weeks back. CR2 I think is coming out today, and final should be out really soon. The key features over there, one of them is what we call as front-end load balancer support. So you really won't need an Apache in front of Wildfly. Wildfly itself will have the load balancer support. So that's pretty cool. The neat feature that we have added this time is called what we call as graceful shutdown. So you don't have to kill your server. You can put the server in suspend mode. It will finish receiving inbound requests, will not receive any more requests, and then it can shut down. So it's a very graceful shutdown of the server. It really helps you in maintenance of server where you're not killing in-flight transactions. That's, I think, a very important aspect. Another one is the offline CLI support, on where you don't have to start the server in order to run the JBoss CLI. It will also automatically start an embedded version of JBoss CLI, Wildfly, and run it with that. Another one is where we have, again, going in the terms of microservices, a servlet-only distribution. Just servlet container, and you put your frameworks that you care about in this and top of that. So I think some HTTP speedy support, of course, is a big one. So lots of features coming out in Wildfly 9. The one thing that I am particularly excited basically on the basis of microservices is Wildfly Swarm. So if you take a look at it, it allows you to generate a fat jar. You basically pick and choose what containers you want, and it automatically generates a fat jar for you. And I think that's very compelling. So I highly recommend taking a look at that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Arun.
Thank you, Walter.
Okay. Bye bye.